In 2019, we changed our policy to focus on helping persons who are pure drug abusers. If they only abuse drugs and have not committed other offenses, they are channeled to receive treatment and do not get a criminal record.
Mr. Speaker, I am supportive of the aforesaid changes and commend the significantly more enlightened attitude taken by policymakers to shift the focus on helping selected repeat drug offenders in a more purposeful and surgical manner.
Mention Singapore, and one of the first things that comes to mind is death penalty for drug trafficking. We are told that drugs wreak immense harm.
We take a very serious view of drug trafficking. The penalty is death. In this case, it was an enormous amount of drugs which were being trafficked. It's nearly 400 grams of pure heroin, which is equivalent to 26,000 doses of heroin. I mean, if you do it shot by shot, which means untold misery and suffering to hundreds, if not thousands, of addicts and their families.
In the EU, half of all homicides and more than a quarter of illegal firearm seizures were linked to drug trafficking.
And ex-drug abusers paint the same picture.
Does my addiction problems affect me alone? The answer is no. It affects the people around me, especially my immediate family. That was my mum. I lied to her, I stole from her.
To feed the addictions, you gotta break a lot of hearts, especially your family members. Because when you know money, you intend to be temperamental, you start to, keep on pestering your parents for money.
So why is Singapore not punishing, but helping drug abusers? I'll explain the benefits of treating drug abusers. Then I'll move on to the benefits of not punishing them. But first, a clarification. This video is not about drug trafficking. It's about drug abuse. It's about the benefits of Singapore's new policy. And while the new approach has advantages, I do not claim that it's the best approach. There may be ways to improve it further. Under the new approach, low-risk, first-time drug abusers are sent for counselling sessions. The rest are sent to the Drug Rehabilitation Centre for varying lengths of time. Counselling is also a pillar of the DRC. Let's listen to one abuser's experience.
I feel that by accepting and being accountable for your actions, come to realize that you are the one at fault. Then you are better prepared to face this rehabilitation journey. So it was during these sessions where I managed to look at myself with a lot more introspection and clarity. And with lucid thought, I managed to highlight what were the things that would bring me back to drug addiction. And it made me equip myself with various skill sets to prevent relapse and also to better prepare myself for a drug-free assimilation back into society.
Contrast this with someone who attended DRC before the policy change.
The arrest definitely broke me out of the cycle of addiction. But within DRC itself, it's definitely very much more of a prison rather than the rehabilitation aspect of it.
His views may or may not be valid, but one thing is clear. If you want to work towards a zero-drug society, it's good to make a significant attempt at rehabilitation. And how can we rehabilitate people when they're in the community? Give abusers something to do.
After my 4th admission detox, I went to a place called We Care, where this is a center which helped me a lot. We have activity to just fill up the day, not thinking about the mountains of problem that I have created. Until a point where I realized the obsession to use substance is gone, it's lifted.
And this approach is grounded in a long line of scientific research, which started from a seminal study on rats.
So Professor Alexander built a cage that he called Rat Park, which is basically heaven for rats, right? They've got loads of cheese, they've got loads of coloured balls, they've got loads of tunnels. Crucially, they've got loads of friends, they can have loads of sex, and they've got both the water bottles, the normal water and the drugged water. But here's the fascinating thing. In Rat Park, they don't like the drugged water. They almost never use it. None of them ever use it compulsively. none of them ever overdose. You go from almost 100% overdose when they're isolated to 0% overdose when they have happy and connected lives. Now, when he first saw this, Professor Alexander thought, you know, maybe this is just a thing about rats, they're quite different to us, you know, maybe not as different as we'd like, but, you know. But fortunately, there was a human experiment into the exact same principle happening at the exact same time. It was called the Vietnam War.
And even after the counseling or DRC stint ends, drug abusers are required to go for urine and hair tests for 5 years to help prevent them relapsing and causing further harm. And why no punishment? When it comes to drugs, even strong physical punishment is easily forgotten.
First time the stroke go in, after the 3 stroke, you come out, we will think, oh, this is painful, so I'm not going to get this again. But when I release, I forget about everything again. So I went back to drugs again.
And giving people a criminal record can backfire.
When I came out, I went for 6 job interviews. Each time I was rejected. So I realized that time in our society, once you're an ex-offender, you will never be able to integrate back to society.
It's much easier to relapse when you're unemployed and isolated. Indeed, a meta-analysis of over 100 studies found that harsher punishments actually increase the likelihood of reoffending, which suggests that if you want to punish people harshly, do it for other reasons, not because you think people are less likely to commit the same crime again. If there's one thing you remember from this video, I hope it's this: have a nuanced view of drug abusers. Here's one way of viewing people that stay on drugs.
And these are people who cannot take care of themselves. And when you're a taxpayer in those countries and you're supporting their habit and they're not capable of performing a livelihood, I'm sorry, I would stop paying my taxes.
But a more nuanced view would take this into account.
Drug addiction is a problem of the mind. You know, that the person is not a criminal. He has an addiction problem that needs to be addressed. Let's say if I'm sick, I go and see a doctor. Doctor diagnosed me as I have a tummy ache and he prescribed Panadol. Do you think it will work? It will cure me? Definitely not, right? So in order to help these people, give them the right prescription. Charging them under criminal law and treating them like criminals, I don't think this would help. And I'm very thankful that in the past few years, those that consume drugs, you get caught 3rd, 4th, 5th, you still go to the DRC regime.
And do this for them, not me.
It's very easy for people who are not in our circle to pass judgment.
I have no comment on the appropriate penalty for drug trafficking, but it is entirely possible to have compassion for drug abusers, while calling for the strongest penalties on drug traffickers.
While we seek to help abusers, we take a tough approach against drug traffickers. We have zero tolerance for those who destroy the lives of others for money. The death penalty is imposed on persons who traffic specified amounts.
Let's build a better and more compassionate world together. If you've learned something from this video, I hope you comment with a heart icon. Thanks for watching.